you might look at Sunlight Tax, the business that I run, and you might think certain things or think that things are easy. And I just want to be here with the kind of like secret hard stuff. So here we go. 5 invisible things for you. Welcome to the Sunlight Podcast. In this show, we're talking about taxes, money, and careers for self-employed people who have a big vision for changing the world with their work. I'm your host, Hannah Cole, artist, tax pro, and the founder of Sunlight Tax. If you're a creative or soul-centered entrepreneur or wellness practitioner who wants to grow your business sustainably, manage your taxes, and build a stash of fuck you money so you can control your time and have a bigger impact with your work, you are in the right place. Hello! I'm so happy to be with you today. Last week, I had a lot of fun talking about my hidden agendas in Sunlight Tax. If you're interested in that episode, just scroll back one and you can hear all about making visible the hidden agendas within the work that I do. Fundamentally, that boils down to a sense of fairness and civics and wanting people's voices to be heard and represented more strongly. But today, on that theme, I thought I would bring you something kind of in a similar vein about invisible things that might not seem obvious, but that, you might look at Sunlight Tax, the business that I run, and you might think certain things or think that things are easy. And I just want to be here with the kind of like secret hard stuff. So here we go. 5 invisible things for you. Number 1, when I started this podcast, I was paralyzed with a sense of perfectionism. I actually felt abject terror getting started on the podcast. It felt intimidating to me. There felt like a lot of technical elements. I am never good with tech or technical things. I can muscle my way through it, but I don't enjoy figuring out technical problems. I just don't. It's not my favorite part of running a business, which is why I tend to do the work of solving a technical problem and then refine it and refine it and refine it and try to get one process really good, because I do not want to be switching around and having to sink a lot of time or basically any extra time into anything technical. So it's interesting because in a way it's made me really get good at technical processes, but I don't enjoy it. I don't. So when I started my podcast, I was so nervous, really so nervous. And I knew, and I was right, that it would suck for a little while. I would have maybe not the best sound quality. I would maybe trip over my words. I wouldn't do things right. Maybe you wouldn't like the episodes. It would be hard to grow. And these things are all true, right? These things are true, but you got to start somewhere. And usually that means starting badly. So I think it would be an interesting exercise, and you're welcome to do it, to scroll back to my very first episode, which was another list episode like this one. And you can listen to it and just, give me some feedback. Send me a DM on Instagram at Sunlight Tax to tell me what you think. But I wonder if you can perceive how nervous I am on that podcast. You might listen to me now and think that I don't sound nervous, but oh my God, it was so bad. It was so bad. Number 2, when I started out in taxes, I had terrible fear and anxiety about what I didn't know. There's nothing like studying the US tax code to realize how big the US tax code is. There is no way to know all of it. There is no one out there who does. And there's really only one solution, which is to specialize. But ironically, when I was starting out, I really felt like I was going to I didn't know yet what kind of questions I would receive from clients. And I felt like I needed to be prepared to answer anything, right? And I also knew I wasn't going to be able to. And that just freaked me out. It made me feel so nervous and self-conscious. I was operating with a lot of fear. And honestly, I don't know how else to do it. I don't know how else to do big things in life in general. other than to feel the fear, to acknowledge it, and to do it anyway. But it's true. I really felt a terrible sense of fear and anxiety with my first clients because I was new. I knew that I would make mistakes. I was told by other accountants, you will make mistakes. Mistakes are normal. I want you to understand it doesn't make you a bad accountant, but you have to be aware. And you also have to put processes in place to catch your mistakes because they happen, right? This was a good lesson to learn, but it's also terrifying when you are dealing with people's finances, right? So, and I also, honestly, I think this is true anytime you train in a new field, you do something new, start a new business. I knew that I would kind of suck for a little while. I knew that it was going to take me some mistakes in order to figure things out. And that is just really scary. I don't have a lot of wisdom there. It just is. It's scary. And I was scared, but that's the truth of it. Number three, invisible thing. I am a terrible tax preparer. Kind of. I mean, that's not totally true. But what I mean by that is I am really slow. I am really slow. I really could never have made a successful or a very successful tax business from just tax preparation. And the reason is to be a really good tax preparation business, you have to do a huge volume. People are really price sensitive around paying for a tax return. It's something they have to do, which is kind of good for business, but it also means a lot of people do it and people just don't want to pay a premium for it, right? And so, in order to make a good living as a tax preparer, you have to pump through an enormous volume of clients, an enormous volume of tax returns. You have to basically do them incredibly efficiently and incredibly quickly. And that just isn't me. I'm efficiency. I'm relatively efficient, but I don't, it's not my love language, right? I don't want to waste time and I don't have infinite time, which is why I do try for efficiency, but I just kind of want to sink in when I'm, encounter an issue on somebody's tax return. I want to go do the tax research. I want to look into it. I want to investigate. Well, how should this be handled? Whereas a good business tax preparer is going to kind of make a fast decision and move, right? And often not encourage questions from their clients. And in fact, what I did was really counter to making money. I really wanted to teach people how it worked. I was seeing so much need, so much confusion that I really enjoyed slowing down and being like, do you know why this is happening to you each year? It's because this thing. So why don't we talk about that thing so that you don't keep getting stuck in this cycle? And that was what I kept realizing over and over again as I kept having those conversations. And of course, it pushed me to really get into the writing and speaking and podcasting side of this because I realized I really care that people get it. I really want to be there to explain it. And honestly, the fact that this stuff does not come naturally to me, that I am an artist turned accountant, makes me really understand why people get confused, why they feel misunderstood, why this stuff feels hard. That makes me a great teacher. So it actually revealed to me what my superpower is, but it's because my superpower isn't in pumping out a whole bunch of tax returns really, really quickly. I think I sort of naturally knew that and always limited how many clients I took on. I recognize that it's difficult work, it's highly regulated work, and people get really stressed out and sometimes exhibit pretty bad behavior around it. And so that was something I had to really manage, and it was hard. And on that note, managing bad behavior, the number 4 invisible thing is that one of the keys to my business success has been only taking clients who I am really well aligned with. I want to work with people who really share my values and who behave decently. And so I was pretty ruthless in my early days, especially in my tax work, with firing clients. If people were unkind, if they blamed me for their tax mistakes, or blamed my staff or yelled at my staff. Sometimes people will be really nice to me because I'm the owner, and then they'd yell at the people who work for me. I fired those people. I just I just don't want to work with people I don't like and don't feel are ethical. And yeah, that really mattered to me. And I have never lost sleep the way I have lost sleep when I am dealing with somebody who I find to be a little bit erratic and unkind. Those are the people who make me not sleep. And there's no fun in that. And I just was like, you know what? I really and truly would rather make less money and get a good night's sleep. It's more important to me. So early days, I started really being pretty ruthless about firing clients when they hit certain triggers. One of those triggers, just like for the record, is not believing that they should have to pay tax the way that other people do, like a sense of entitlement or exceptionalism. I did a whole episode last week on kind of my core beliefs and some my secret hidden agendas. And one of them is fairness across the board. Taxes are for everyone and everyone is equal. And I just don't want to be around people who feel that they are the exception. I like being around people who really feel like, yeah, we're all in this together. And I understand I am obligated to do the same hard things that other people have to do. But the thing about difficult clients is that it takes some time to learn. It takes some time to manage, and it takes some time to spot the signs, right? I've done episodes on this in the past, but I will repeat for you that I think if you have a spidey sense about somebody, that there's something unethical about them, or they're going to explode in your face, or, yell at you, be unkind, whatever the thing is that you don't have a high tolerance for or want to have to deal with. The thing about it is it took me a while to come to trust my gut on this. I actually would give people the benefit of the doubt a lot more frequently in my early days than later. But what I came to learn, what experience taught me, is that the first time you talk to somebody, when somebody is coming to you and wants to be a client for the first time, that's them on their best behavior. So if when they're on their best behavior, they're giving you signals that they're going to pull a fit, that they're going to dispute the bill that you send them, or decide that they don't know the taxes they owe and they think somehow it's your fault that they owe taxes. If they are giving off signals that make you feel a certain way in your first meeting, there is not only are you right, but that problem is going to get worse and worse and deeper and deeper. It does not improve from there. It will only get worse. And the reason is that's them on their best behavior. So you are only seeing the very tip of the iceberg in that scenario. And there is a whole lot of hurt underneath the surface of the water. So do yourself a favor and never hire that person in the first place. That is what I learned. I definitely got better spidey sense about this over time. And it's definitely become much easier to do. And also, I used to feel guilt about it, and now I do not. So that's another thing that's been really great about having my business for a longer amount of time. And last thing that's invisible, this is a funny one. My kitchen is incredibly ugly. Which doesn't really sound like a business thing, but it kind of is. It's kind of a thing that reflects my values. I have a really freaking ugly kitchen. And the reason is like, I could choose to spend my money that I earn in my business that I work hard for. I could choose to spend that money renovating my kitchen, right? I could do that. It's a choice. But I value my financial security and my ability to rest so much more that to me, I would rather put money towards my long-term future into investment accounts. I would rather do that than spend the money to make my kitchen beautiful. Really and truly, that is the choice I have made. I live with a functional but super ugly kitchen because I love that money being in my investment accounts. In other words, I care about having actual wealth versus the appearance of 1/12 that a fancy kitchen would have, right? I could have that fancy kitchen, but I choose not to. And I think this is a good kind of rule of thumb for all of us. It's not about having it all, right? I mean, I think unless you're a millionaire, billionaire, you're never going to have it all, but you do get to choose. You do get to make choices. And I think rather than have it all, I have priorities. So that's where I will leave you today. It has been a pleasure talking to you about the invisible things in my business. I hope that's helped you. Send me your thoughts on Instagram at Sunlight Tax. I'd love to hear what you think. And if you like this episode, or if you have a friend who would benefit from hearing some of these invisible things, maybe your friend needs to fire a client. Maybe your friend has a hideous kitchen. Make sure you share this episode. Maybe not for the hideous kitchen. You don't want to tell your friend that. But share the episode with a friend. It's really helpful to me, and I'm very, very grateful. Thanks for listening to the end. You are the best. See you next time. Bye. Thank you for listening. If you like the show, be sure to subscribe, leave a review. It really helps, and share it with a friend. I'm so grateful. This podcast is for education and entertainment only. Nothing in this episode should be taken as individual tax or financial advice. You can find all the tools, books, and links we reference at sunlighttax.com/podcast.